Okay, in this video, I want to talk about professionals in this field. I've mentioned this about people who are not professionals. I do believe it's people with narcissistic personality disorder. I'm not diagnosing anybody. I'm saying that people who actually have that disorder and have been diagnosed by, a licensed professional counselor or whatever it is where they live, that is appropriate to diagnose them, that they actually believe, some of them, that they are better than any professionals. Okay, and they will get very angry, like I mentioned in this last video, one of the videos on this topic, that they will actually get very angry. It's a narcissistic injury to them. Some people call it that. I don't really like that term, but you insulted them by saying, no, you're not, because you're not, say they're not professionals in that field, so no, you're not better than the professionals. Okay, and they'll get angry, and they might go into a rage, yeah, because they've felt insulted, and you should recognize their authority. Okay, there's something beyond that. What about if professionals, people who are actually, say, licensed professional counselors, and somebody doubts their authority? I want to talk about that. Now, I'm going to be a bit biased in this. I'm putting it flat out. That's what sociologists do. I'm going to be biased because my degrees are actually in psychology and sociology. I studied to become a counselor for women, relationship counselor, marriage and family counselor. Anyway, so I'm going to be biased. I'm going to admit that up front. And state this at the same time. Say somebody does get angry when, says, a counselor or a therapist who's licensed by whatever it is where you live, how they do it, and somebody who's not claims to know more than they. Say it's a client. Some people call patient, it's a client. And, the client sits there and claims to know more. Well, what if the professional gets upset? This situation can happen, probably has many times, especially if you're dealing with somebody who's narcissistic. Okay, their behaviors. It's not diagnosing their behaviors, but also, like I just said earlier, people who actually have the disorder too. Okay, now personally, I think that the person who's dealing, the counselor, just to say counselor, who's dealing with somebody like that comes in and says they know more and they do that. One thing, if it's upsetting to the counselor, I think the counselor should say we need to end end our relationship. Seriously. If that person is going to sit there and push your buttons purposefully, that's how I feel. I could be wrong. People differ on how they see it. But if it's not a good working relationship here for their counseling, they're just going to sit there and mock you or, claim that, end it, send it, suggest they see somebody else, just end it, to me. Now, some people, anyway, what I was starting to talk about was, what if they do get angry? Is it something wrong with the counselor if the counselor gets angry, upset? Or does that? Acts very professional and says, we're going to end our counseling sessions all, totally. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think anybody can get angry. Anybody's buttons can be pushed. Now, I think a counselor, I can't say all, I can't even say most, I don't have a statistic, but I think that they are trained well enough to not let somebody push their buttons too far, too much, before they've realized they have to end this, because that person sees themselves as better than that one person. It might not be the same for somebody else. But we're human. I mean, not we. They're human. They are humans too. You can't expect them to be God or goddesses. Seriously. And I think some people, if they don't see that counselor as above it all, of everything, as having actually no emotions, can be totally professional at all times. Yeah, some people say, okay, then I can go see a life coach and they're better than the counselors because they claim to be. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, but anyway, these days, this is what you hear too much of. This is where I was really wanting to go, is that people who say on YouTube, or people who make videos, it doesn't have to be just YouTube. It can be Facebook too, or I don't know what else, really. I know a few others. You can make videos, put videos up, and people who are actually like counselors, or they're educators to teach things in psychology, sociology. Depends on where you live. What is accepted as somebody who can do actual counseling. Now they may teach them. They might be the ones that are doing it, or both, but that make videos, and people, for just anybody. Somehow, some way, is that those are the people, and I have a good idea, by the way. Those are the people that aren't listened to as much, or they start to side in a way, or something not right, with the people who make videos claiming to be better than the actual professionals. So what's being heard more is the people who are claiming, like I just said, to be better than the professionals. Yeah, in this field. That worries me. It has for years now, that the loudest, I've always said this for many years, the loudest voices are the one you would least need to hear. Seriously. The ones who are claiming that they're better, and they're not. Anybody with a brain can figure out, okay, how can you be better? And they give reasons, such as I've said in a million videos, they give reasons such as that they've experienced it, so therefore they know better. Guess what? You really honestly think that people who go into this field and focus on a field haven't experienced it, or have had somebody close to them that experienced it? Come on, seriously. People go into, quite often, I remember research on this, they quite often go into a field because they have experienced it. So that just throws it right out the door. Plus, do you really know that these life coaches, or just people who are just claiming they can help you, if you give them donations, because they've experienced it? Do you really know they've experienced it? Or have they been the one experiencing it, but on the side? Not as the victim, but more as the narcissistic abuse, or toxic person, however you want to claim it. Yeah. Anyway, those are too much of the voices that are being heard, are the ones who are claiming something that they're really, like, here, you can't claim you're counseling somebody. You can't counsel somebody even if you are not licensed by the state. Okay, but they're getting away with it somehow, some way. For one thing, I don't think any of them are here, so I don't know what it is where they live. Yeah. Even that claim, boy, my accent got thick right there, but the claim of stating that they're better than the counselors, whoo, boy. Yeah, depending on where you live, that might bring up a whole lot of questions. How is it that you're better if it were something like, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know, or I don't work for all these states, but if they were to listen to you and say you're better than the counselor, so you're saying what? You see where I'm going with this? How are you better than a counselor when the highest level that you can have to do so is a counselor? Think about it. Okay, anyway, so what can the people who are actual counselors, which you could, verify if need be, the ones that make videos, how can their voices be heard more? What should they do? What could they do? Why aren't there more? What is it? What kind of personality is one that would get and make videos when they actually are the ones degreed and teach, educators, whatever it is, like I said earlier? What is it about them that they do so and others do not? Seriously. There needs to be more. There really need to be more. That's just my opinion. Okay, I did want to mention why it's on my mind, because I recently saw a comment, just somebody going off, and I've seen plenty of these, just somebody going off and saying how that the counselors are horrible, and that whole song and dance, the whole thing of counselors are horrible, the life coaches really know because they've experienced it, and just went, like I said, on and on about this. And I'm like, these are either people who, that's what they want to be, as a life coach. Anybody can be a life coach here, anybody. Just seriously. Hey, I'm 8, say somebody says they're 18 and now I'm a life coach. Yeah. Anyway, they really know a lot about life at 18. But anybody can. And they put out that message. It's heard. It is heard. And it gets into people's brains, the normalization of narcissism, because people who claim, let's go back to the very first here, people who have narcissistic behavior, some of them, or actually have the personality disorder, some will claim that they know better than the professionals. Yeah. So, the professionals actually need to stand up. And do I think that there could be some professionals? I'm not going to answer that because, that's the only thing that some people want to hear. Seriously. They say, oh, there's one, so therefore there's all. Let's think about that one, too. Who does that? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up.